Laowa as a brand has been focused on creating products that solve problems with outside-the-box thinking. From ultra-wide lenses with insane distortion-free performance, to crazy probe lenses that create unique macro looks, to budget-friendly anamorphic cine zoom lenses. And today, I'm here to share with you another set of fantastic lenses. These are the Laowa Ranger Super 35 Cine Zooms. So the first thing I want to do with these lenses is to put them through their paces in a practical setting. So I hit up my talented friend, 𝗙𝗘𝗟𝗡𝗥, and we're gonna go out and film a fitness spec ad and see what these lenses can produce.
You know, people need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. People don't get is one day that thing's gonna come up. If you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not gonna be ready when the time comes. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us, because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose.
I was absolutely blown away by the images that these lenses produced. Sharp images with good contrast rendition while also still looking like it has some character, all while functionally being super user-friendly. So afterwards, I wanted to do some technical tests to see what these lenses are capable of and also where they might fall short. To start off, let's look at some test charts and see how it does with distortion. Laowa has always been known to make nearly distortion-free lenses, and they don't disappoint here. On all three of the lenses, lines remain pretty straight throughout the frame, with a slight hint of barrel distortion. But I think overall, in real-world usage, these lines are pretty straight. Next, of course, is going to be sharpness. All three lenses produce some sharp results, from the center to the edges. If I had to rate it, I'd say the sharpness is at like an 8 out of 10. It's not as sharp as my G Master photo lenses, but that's to be expected. Instead, it delivers an overall clean image with a hint of softness evenly across the entire frame. To my eyes, the contrast rendition looks really good too. What about lens flares and ghosting? Well, this one is interesting, and it's probably going to be the most polarizing. The Laowa Ranger Super 35s don't have the strongest flare and ghosting control. On the 11 to 18 millimeters, the lens flares look, as I personally expected, a bit bloomy with a bunch of elements reflecting through the lens before it hits the sensor. On the 17 to 50 millimeter, they become a bit more intense and cascade different shapes and patterns depending on how the light hits the lens. Then, on the 50 to 130 millimeters, they become quite characteristic. My guess is that this is a byproduct of the compact lens design, but ultimately you end up getting these flares that kind of create a tunnel to the center of the frame. Personally, I think this is one of the coolest and most unique lens flares I've tested, but understandably, if you're looking for a set of lenses that are clinically clean, then this might be a deal breaker for you. Now let's look at chromatic aberration. My favorite way to test this lately has been to film high contrast text at an angle to force chromatic aberration to appear, if any, in the area that transitions to the out of focus elements. The 11 to 18 millimeter shows very little chromatic aberration, while the 17 to 50 millimeter looks like the results I see from most lenses with a little bit of chromatic aberration appearing. The 50 to 130 millimeter performed the worst in this test, showing the most amount of chromatic aberration. Of course, your mileage may vary in real-world environments, as I don't actually see that significant of chromatic aberration in actual sample footage. And here are a few other specs on these lenses that are notable. All three of these lenses feature extremely minimal focus breathing, eliminating potential distractions from focus racks mid-shot. Each of these lenses also have a pretty close minimum focusing distance, with the 11 to 18 millimeters having a minimum focusing distance of 36 centimeters, the 17 to 50 millimeters having a minimum focusing distance of 35 centimeters, and the 50 to 130 millimeters having a minimum focusing distance of 75 centimeters. And on top of all of that, these lenses have a parfocal design, meaning that if you have your focus set at one specific distance, it shouldn't drift regardless of the zoom. Changing pace real quick, I want to give you guys a tip that kind of flew under my radar for the longest time, and I'm honestly not sure why, but if you want to shoot with manual lenses like these on a camera like the FX30 with in-body image stabilization, then make sure you go into your settings and manually set the focal length you're currently shooting at. This way the camera knows how to better compensate for the movement, giving you better stabilized handheld footage. Before I figured this out, and this is kind of embarrassing, when I was shooting with manual lenses, I would just put it on, I would throw on active, and I would just start shooting. And sometimes I'd be like, why does my handheld stabilization look kind of wonky? This is why. So if anybody out there needed to hear this, here you go. Okay, let's look at the build quality of these lenses next. The set I own comes with 3 lenses, an 11 to 18 millimeter, 17 to 50 millimeter, and 50 to 130 millimeter, all offering a constant t2.9 aperture. Since these are APS-C lenses, they give a full frame equivalent focal range of 16 millimeters to 195 millimeters. The most impressive physical features of these lenses, to me at least, is going to be the size and weight. The difference with full frame and APS-C lenses is that full frame lenses have to cover a much larger image circle, meaning that a cine zoom for full frame, even a compact set like the Laowa Rangers I reviewed a while back, still end up being pretty large and heavy. It's just a matter of physics. But when you can design your lenses for a Super 35 or APS-C sensor, then you can make these lenses a lot smaller. These lenses, despite being a cine zoom, fit in the palm of my hand and weigh between 745 grams to 865 grams for their standard versions. The set I have here are the light versions, which weigh even less at 660 grams to 775 grams. Of course, being a cinema lens, the focus, zoom, and iris rings are matched across each lens, making swapping lenses on a gimbal or rig easy and significantly less time-consuming, meaning you can focus on filming. On the lenses, you'll also find there are focus range indicators with both metric and imperial measurements on both sides of the lenses. And in line with other Laowa lenses, you can easily adjust the back focus on these lenses with the tools provided and the instructions in the manual. Now, the prices on these lenses aren't going to be the most budget-friendly thing you've ever seen, but it's also not tens of thousands of dollars as would be the industry standard. If you wanted to pick up just one of these lenses, it'll run you $2,000, or you could save $300 and get the 3-lens bundle for $5,700. If you're interested in the lighter weight design of the light version like I have, then you'll be looking at $2,500 per lens or $7,200 for the 3-lens bundle. The Laowa Ranger Super 35 Cine Zooms come in PL mount by default, but you can also opt for Canon RF, Sony E, Nikon Z, L mount, Canon EF, or Fuji X mount for an additional $50 per lens. If you're interested in checking these lenses out, I'll put links in the description box down below. Alright, that's it for this one. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and let me know in the comment section down below on what you guys think of these new Laowa Cine Zooms. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Peace.